But yeah, I've been working a long time for this moment, so it feels good to finally get here. You know what I mean? A couple of days away from achieving that goal, and yeah, feel good.
Is it a moment like you feel prepared for? Obviously, coming through as an undefeated amateur, people were talking about you before you even made your pro debut. Obviously, knowing your name through your brother as well. Is that pressure something that you've had your whole career, something that has prepared you for this big moment?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You know, since I've started, everyone's like, okay, his brother started. Let's see if he's any good. You know what I mean? Went from amateur career, undefeated. Obviously, pro, suffered a couple of losses, and that's what it's like when you lose, people start doubting, you know what I mean? But I never doubted myself, and that's the reason why I'm in the situation I'm in now, you know?
Obviously, Johnny Eblen, we've seen him being very impressive over the last while. His wrestling is obviously very good. And, you know, you spoke about a couple of losses there. The Vanderfort one was a lot of it obviously down to the wrestling, although a closer fight maybe than a lot of people talk about.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've improved an awful lot on the wrestling from? And obviously, is that something you've thought about a lot coming into this fight?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like even I look back at that fight and I feel like if I had, because I never had my right corner team because like COVID like messed everything up, you know? And I feel like even with the right corner team, I feel like I would have beat him that night. So I feel like the skills have always been there, but I feel like I'm more mature now with my skill set. I feel like I know exactly what I need to do to beat these guys, you know?
What do you think it is you need to do to beat Eblen?
Be Fabian Edwards. You know what I mean? Be Fabian Edwards, and that's land heavy shots on him. Make him uncomfortable in there and yeah, you know, turn him into a panic wrestler. That's why he's at heart, that's why he is. You know, so you're always gonna go back to what you are, and about me making him realize that real quick, you know.
Obviously, it's there for everyone to see the amount of talent you have, but sometimes you even said it yourself, you fight within yourself maybe a little bit. Is that what you're talking about, being Fabian Edwards, letting those shots go, letting the hands go, make him pay for his mistakes?
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, like when you see me in the gym and you see me just flow, you know, I'm always at my best when I'm just in there flowing and enjoying. You know, I feel like there's been certain moments where I haven't done that, you know, and that's how it goes. And I'm still young in this sport. You know, I've only been doing this for 8 years now. 8 years? Yeah. 8 years. So I've been doing it for 8 years. So it ain't long compared to some of these guys, you know.
Last one for me. How good would it be to get home to Birmingham and you have the Bellator title and your brother have the UFC title and hold them up in your hometown?
Yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be crazy. You know, that's what we envision. You know, when I signed for Bellator, I said that's what I'm gonna do. I came here to get a belt. You know, I never come here just to like take part and then fade away into background. I came here to get a belt, and yeah, I'm not far away from that.
Obviously, you were your undefeated fighter for a long time, and an amateur and a pro. What was the kind of feelings and the kind of mental side of it when you went in there, and even if you dispute this decision or whatever, on the record it is a loss, two losses in a row. What kind of mental things you have to deal with, and how hard is it compared to when the momentum of being undefeated for a number of years? What are the changes in the kind of mentality and the training and everything around that?
Yeah, like I say, when you're undefeated for so many years, you think to yourself, I'm never gonna lose. Like you really do. Like I could never lose. You know what I mean? But you suffer your loss, a next loss, and you kind of like, part of the sport. You know, kind of realize part of the sport. Let's not hold on to it too much, because holding on to it is gonna do more damage than good. You know what I mean? So yeah, I therefore soaked for a bit. I was driving, and every time I drive, it would flash into my head like, oh, fuck's sake, I can't believe you lost that. But I just maintained the same positive mindset. I thought, I'll get back to the gym, get back working, you know.
And obviously you took a fight with a legend in Machida after that and got to finish with, like, you know, was that, obviously it's a legend of the sport, a guy who's been a champion in the UFC. Is that a different kind of feeling when you're going against somebody who you obviously would respect and maybe look up to as you were growing in the sport?
Yeah. And plus as well, like I'd like back against the wall type of feeling, you know. So I didn't really care who was in there with me. If I'm being honest, it was like by any means I'm winning this fight, you know, and by any means I'm winning this fight, and yeah, and by any means I won, you know.
Hey, Fabian, is it a coincidence that right now you and your brother are at the top of your promotions, basically?
Nah, I just feel like obviously years and years of hard work have just kind of led to the moment, kind of at the same time. You know what I mean? And that's about it.
Yeah. Is it like? But it's so there's nothing specific to the factor that it's happening at the same time.
Nah, not really. I feel like this, like I said, just literally just the years of hard work, and me and my brother are very like perfectionists. We're like, nah, it needs to be done right. We need to get it right. And I feel like over the years, it's just built up our skill set, and we've just, God's timing. You know what I mean? I feel like it's that time.
You think you're being overlooked by Johnny basically because he is undefeated, and what do you make of him being undefeated and that mentality he comes with?
Like I say, when you've never lost before, you think, nah, I can never lose. Like, fuck it, that would never happen to me. You know what I mean? And that would be his downfall. He thinks he can never lose, and that's a good mindset to have. But when I go in there and when the shots are flying at him, and he's in a fight, then he'll realize. He'll realize.
And I heard him say that you were there too, like in the studio, that you don't drop people. So what do you say to that? When he says like you're not dropping people.
Oh, dropping people.
Yeah. I think you said that today, right?
Oh yeah. But I said to him like, I KO people though. You know what I mean? Like curly toes and that. That's how I give people. So when I hit people, I'm giving them curly toes and stuff. So Johnny don't really curly toe people like how I do, and that's it. He's a guy that's gonna go in there and like box and hang off people and box and hang off people. That's what he does.
It's a hell of a statement. You also there was a time when pretty recently actually that Gegard Mousasi, like that people were saying that he might be someone that could give Izzy a good run for his money, probably maybe beat him.
Yeah.
And then you beat him.
Yeah.
So do you look back at that and what did that do for you mentally as well?
Yeah, it done a lot for me. And to be honest, I was more happy that I beat him over the 5 rounds than like taking him out in a round. You know what I mean? Because that kind of showed I can stay locked in for a fight for 25 minutes. I've done 3 rounders before, but the extra 10 minutes you can change. So yeah, that said a lot about my skill set.
It's like more what you needed for this title fight.
Yeah, it's like perfect. It's like you don't want to go into a title fight without like experience the 5 rounder. I felt like that was perfect. I had a 3 rounder with Charlie. I had a 5 rounder with this one, and I feel like that's the experience that you need for title fights.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there's been a lot of eyes on Team Renegade the last while now, and on Dave Lavelle, the whole team, and you're bringing attention both to some struggles that people in the kind of Midlands to north of England, but also people who have come to England from elsewhere. With all of that in mind, how has that kind of driven you in recent months towards this title, and how do you think it's going to affect the steps that you take next in your career, regardless of how this turns out? But do you think that maybe you see that there's maybe a higher purpose both for you and for Team Renegade in your community and in the MMA community as a whole?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like when you come from an area or you grew up how we did with like fuck all, basically, you want to be able to give back. You know what I mean? You want to be able to give back to the community and to the younger kids coming up, also to your family as well. So yeah, that's what that's what the crazy thing about MMA, because you don't realize how much you can inspire people and do for people. So I'm happy I'm in that position where I feel like I can give back and help people. And when I go out there and win on Saturday, that's gonna inspire more people. And yeah, that means a lot,
Because you've Leon has spoken about being from the trenches.
Yeah.
As in a Birmingham context, and I'm like, lads, there's the bigger context there of being a family coming from Jamaican roots.
Yeah.
Like
we're not on about the Birmingham trenches though.
Yeah, but people do take it as being from Birmingham, rough area of Birmingham or whatever. But that it's like from one struggle to the next struggle. Yeah. And now you have an opportunity to inspire people so that it doesn't have to be a struggle for them.
Yeah. That's it. Like I say, Leon spoke about it. Leon pretty much like kind of told our story. You know what I mean? Because his story is pretty much my story in the same way, especially how we grew up. So going like coming from Jamaica, where it's like our house was small in this room. You know what I mean? They had to wash outside in a fucking like a bucket and water. Then come into England and like our dad passed in after like a year of being in England, and our mom having to struggle and all of that. It's kind of mad when you look back at it, but I feel like all of that has built us to the men that we are today. You know what I mean? So it's inspiring for even myself looking at my own story.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hey Fabian, you were obviously with us yesterday on the radio in FM 104. You seem to be almost enjoying it, having a bit of fun. Is that the way you've always been on Fight Week, trying to enjoy it, take it all in, or is that something that you've learned over the years?
No, that's how I've been. That's how I've been. I definitely have relaxed a bit, especially for my amateur days. I was a bit more, aggressive with it with Fight Week. But yeah, I'm calm, relaxed. My team, we always like to try and enjoy it because it's a short ride. You know what I mean? Before you know, I'll be saying I'm hanging the gloves up and everything. So trying to make sure we enjoy the ride as well.
And you mentioned the amateur days there. Can you pinpoint maybe one or two things that you've seen the biggest change or the biggest improvements you've made, almost not even just as a fighter, but as a person as well, since you turned pro?
From amateur to pro, I would say, like, your skill set obviously grow, but you're just a lot more confident in yourself. You know what I mean? And when you I feel like confidence is everything. So when you're confident in your skill set and confident in your team and you trust in them, you kind of, I don't know, it's like kind of wipe away any doubt that you have. And I feel like that's the biggest thing from amateur now. I've never switched top teams. I've always been in Birmingham. I've always trained pretty much under the same people, around the same people, and that's what's brought me to where I'm at now.
Hi, Fabian.
Yes, brother.
Last time we spoke, it was at the Eiffel Tower in Paris. A lot of French people follow your story. My question is simple. You were underdog in Paris today too, for this week. Is this place such a better place for you to fight? Because it's like the story of Leon. Every fight at the big stage, you was underdog. So can you explain us if you feel better in this position as favorite?
I think I'm an underdog. I am, right? I think I'm the underdog. So all I know, it feels good to fight in front of the Irish crowd. I know that. I've been in Ireland before. I fought here. I've got 2 stoppages on my record in Ireland. So yeah, that venue's been good to me. That venue's blessed me with some good wins, and I feel like Saturday, like I truly believe on Saturday, he's gonna bless me with another beautiful victory. And yeah.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, so appreciate it, boys. And ladies,
Or resides.
Aaron, back again for another big fight in the Tree Arena. You must be getting used to it at this stage, having another big fight here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's 7th one here now. So, yeah, it's just becoming very familiar. It's actually nice to get to this hotel and just change it up a bit. You know what I mean? And yeah, he's giving me a chair this time, so it's great. But yeah, no, it's great, and really looking forward to it.
It feels like every time we speak, we're speaking about your opponent changing, and finally, touch wood, this one hasn't, and you've been able to prepare for a full camp for him. How good must that feel to have that only a couple of days out now?
Yeah, well, the opponent didn't change, but this is actually a 140 now. So yeah, 10 days out, got the news, but like that doesn't, I was good. I wanted to make the 135, because this is actually the third fight that I haven't fought in a weight class. For the Brazilian was 150. The one after that was 148. He didn't make that, so it was basically 150. And then now this one's 140. So yeah, kind of good. I wanted to see how it'd be. I just wanted to make the weight and on the weight, but like that doesn't matter. It's probably everything happens for a reason. Make the 140, say you feel, and a few adjustments for the next one. So I'm feeling good.
Was this the first fight you were going down to 135?
Yeah, first fight, yeah.
And what was the decision behind that? You were obviously doing undefeated, doing really well at 145. What was the decision to go down to 135?
A few things. So first of all, I knew I could make it. Back in November 21, I was getting really light, and I knew I could, I knew I could make it. And just, obviously, size myself up to other people and stuff. And I wouldn't have been really like that. But again, that would have been the second reason was, I'm fighting a bigger man every time, and like you can see, it's definitely giving away 10 pounds. Especially the catchweight fights as well. You know what I mean? And I know that the last guy was struggling to make weight, but no one was mentioning that he was fought welterweight and lightweight, and so but yeah, like that was the second reason. And obviously then people are throwing at me, you could be fighting this person, that person next, and and I was like, well, those 10 pounds are going to make a massive difference. And then the third reason then was actually I had a conversation with Dan Healy, and just from that conversation, it was basically just from what I took from it was, for longevity, fighting the bigger man is worse than the weight cut. So I'm at a weight class here now. I feel it's fair game. I'm the same size as the guy now. You know what I mean? I'm not giving away height, reach, nothing like that. To boy. So some lads cut weight for the advantage. I'm actually just cutting weight for fair game. You know what I mean? So I wish I could fight the bantamweights at 66, but obviously that's not the sport we're in. You know what I mean?
Obviously, when you go down a weight class, you might have an advantage in strength and then maybe a disadvantage in speed. Is that a thing you've thought about in terms of both of those things, and finding the happy medium there?
Yeah, well, that was a thing. I was like, bounce it off John, obviously, and like I was like, oh look, it'd be more like, because they're going to be faster and quicker, and obviously my pace and my cardio, that has been the story at Featherweight. You know what I mean? But going down the weight class, but he was like, he basically put to me like, you're training with your brother. How many years you're training with, Bragaton on the daily, Franz Malambo, Brian Moore, who's out there going up now, obviously. But like, when you put in that perspective, it was like, yeah, that makes sense. You know what I mean? And always feeling good, and like that, I'm training with the best guys in SPG under John and Dave there. So like, yeah, like that. I put it into perspective. So I was like, yeah, happy days. But of course, like, you have to be aware of that. But as I said, I have the cardio, I have the pace, and yeah, just a few adjustments, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday now at this new weight class.
You mentioned John there, and recently John mentioned yourself and Danny McCormack as well as two of the people he maybe wanted to just bring up a bit and tell people about, for the work ethic and where you've come from and where you've reached. How good is it to have something like that and to have John behind you, obviously, and mentioning you as one of the people he's, I suppose, most proud of working with?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like, I don't know, you actually got a clip of me there. It was Andy was interviewing John, and I clipped it all up. It was a good, nice little 3-minute video. I didn't get a chance to post around because I actually didn't see it till like a month after. But 2021, I think John said like his greatest win as a gym or a whole, or that year, his favorite moments was when I bet Jordan Barton here in the Tree Arena, and that was actually really nice to hear. You know what I mean? And it just goes to show John does take me in, and like that, John has given me. I really feel he's put me ahead of other, he's really, really looked after me, whether it become the sponsorships or opportunities and everything. I really owe John a lot. You know what I mean? And it's great it is, yeah.
I don't know if you agree with this, but I was saying on the podcast, I believe it's the last fight of your deal here, and you were kind of talking about, maybe potentially if Bellator doesn't re-sign, or it's a kind of influx of Bellator at the moment, that you might have to go to the UFC. I was kind of saying that, the path you're on has been a steady increase, and that it will be, for the kind of future of your career, it might not be detrimental, but it wouldn't be ideal for you to go straight into the UFC. Is that something you think about, kind of building yourself up more and getting yourself more ready, or if the UFC were to call, would you jump straight out the contract?
To be honest, I don't like answering them questions because I have to beat this guy now on Saturday, to be honest. And I'll be honest, I just can't answer that because I don't know what is going on with Bellator. I'm sure most of us don't, and even speaking to the head lads, they don't know themselves. But all I know is if I fight Saturday, I can't really think about anything after that. I mean, I'd rather be 8-0 having that conversation with you than 7-1, So, and that's the way I'm thinking about it. And yeah, it's very, very hard for me to answer that. I think I'm counting me chickens before they hatch, So it's hard to answer that. I'm sorry, yeah.
Take one from online here, Mills.
Hey, how's it going? It's MMA Locker Room, part of Pub Sports Radio. How you doing today, mate?
All's good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. Just a question, man. You guys got your whole team pretty much fighting on this card, so I need to know. I think the crowd's going to be the loudest when you walk out, but who's going to be able to get that second loudest ovation out of your team, out of your camp that's going to be walking out with you guys this week?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Hopefully we've all been getting the wins and building the crowd up until that point. And I think I'm at a right spot in the crowd for myself to have a good roar, and I'm bringing 200 plus as usual from Drogheda. So it's hard to say. Dara Kelly's a good following. And obviously then I think, it's hard to not mention it, but I think if Peter Quay, comes out to the zombie, I mean, everybody's going to get behind that. And actually, each time I watch that entrance, to actually get the history behind that, the commentary did a great job that time. And I think it was, I think maybe Peter, I'd say, yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Sorry, boys. Thank you.
Against Waterford. Waterford.
Peter, another big fight in the Tree Arena. How much are you looking forward to Saturday night again to be able to get out there in front of your home fans?
I'm looking forward to actually fighting and having a camp this time and actually training for it. The last 3 fights, like, you know me, I never make excuses after a fight, but in the fullness of time, I feel like I can kind of divulge a bit of what was going on with me, and I had no business fighting in those fights, to be honest, especially the Ben one. Like, to put that in perspective, I had surgery on my shoulder in March. It tore again in July. I had to go back in and get my bicep cut in half and drilled through my humerus. Is that what's this one? No, is it? Yeah. And stuffed in there. This was in July, and I fought him then August, September. So I gave my best go, but in hindsight, thinking back on it, it just wasn't me at all. So I'm looking forward now to reminding people I still have a bit of gas left in the tank, that I'm not that kind of shell that I showed in my last few fights. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
What was the reason, I suppose, for fighting through that? You know, a lot of people in that situation, they wouldn't even think about fighting. What was your reason for kind of going into those fights?
Well, what are you going to do? Not fight and then leave everyone? The thing was sold out. You know, I went in, I got that surgery done early enough that I thought I would be fine. It wasn't that I was just, I'm grand, whatever. But I got that done in March, thinking I have 6 months here to recover. And I was kind of told that probably will be enough. But then as I got closer, it was clear it wasn't enough. But at that point, what can you do? You've said you're going to do it, so you have to do it. That's in life in general. When you say you're going to do something, you should go through in your word and finish off what you've said and do what you said. So you can't just turn around and not do it when there's that much at stake.
I remember last time we spoke before the media day, before your last fight, you came into it and you're like, you know, you probably even admit yourself, you're a bit negative going into the fight, and it was, you know, it didn't seem like yourself. And even the walkout and the aftermath and all, it didn't seem like yourself. Was that injuries again, or were you just like at kind of a low ebb in your career at that point?
It was injuries again. So my shoulder still wasn't right. My shoulder only kind of came good May this year. So it took about 14 months for it to kind of come around. So that was February. So it was still kind of at me. And I was okay. It wasn't too bad, to be fair. But for that one, I actually tore my LCL 4.5 weeks before the fight. That one as well. So I didn't train at all for that one. Literally nothing. I was hitting pads, standing still for most of my camp there, and doing skier, standing still without bending my knees. That was literally what I was doing for that one. So I was just at a bit of a low ebb in terms of just mentality, and I was like, oh, I'm not ready again for this one. I was just down on myself that I'm getting so unlucky more than that, and feeling sorry for myself, kind of. And it actually went again in the fight on that take. That's kind of what I was actually doing well in that fight. I'd hurt badly at the end of the first round. I feel like I won the first round pretty easily. I remember even going in after the first round and thinking, this is going great. Like, this is pretty easy in comparison to my previous fights. It's going well. And then I hurt him again in the second round, and he shot a kind of a panic takedown. I don't know if you remember this, but I kind of went down awkwardly and I tore my knee again. And then when I got back to my feet, we were in the clinch, and I was kind of thinking about my knee, and that's what got me. So, you know, fair play to him. But again, I feel like this wouldn't have happened if I had actually been able to grapple and train and had a camp again. So
it seems like there's a bit of, as well as the physical recovery, there's a bit of a mental recovery after that one for you. Was that a big part of it as well? Kind of thinking like, look, I have to get back here. I have to, get back physically, but I have to kind of change the mindset again and get ready to kind of maybe climb that mountain again.
Yeah, and to be honest, it wasn't going very well after the last fight. I was just like trudging through training, but then once I got healthy again, it changed dramatically, very quickly. It was just like, you know me, I don't mind a bit of hard work and training hard and, you know, doing all that hard stuff. But it's when you can't do it and you want to do it, and you're doing a session, then you're taking 5 days off because you're in bits, and then you go back in again, you're not really making any progress. This is kind of taxing mentally. But once I kind of started getting healthy, started the summer, dramatically changed. John will tell you. I was even in the gym this week, sparring and everything this week. Just probably not that smart, but I felt good. And that's what I like doing. And that's the difference that you're going to see now this weekend is you're actually going to see Peter who's prepared again. You're going to see the Peter that beat Patricky the first time when I was actually training and hard training. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most now. It's kind of reminding everyone that I'm I'm still there.
Just 2 more quick questions.
Yeah.
Obviously, your gym that you opened up yourself has now become one of the best gyms for amateurs and people coming through. And Conor McCarthy obviously is one of the guys you've spoken about before. Is that something that has really kind of helped you in your game and will help you maybe going forward to be kind of teaching the younger guys and even have those younger guys to maybe spar with or to learn with as well as you're going up? How much does that kind of change your game? And is it something you think that can help you going forward?
Yeah, it is good. I actually train with my guys every Thursday night, always Thursday night, but I sometimes get another maybe session or two in as well during the week with them. And what I've learned, I started doing it just to kind of help them, just so they'd spar with someone who's been there and a bit more experienced, and that rub off on them. But then what you learn quick is if you want to kind of keep up to date with the new techniques and you train with the kids and you see all this new stuff that's they're trying to do because they're watching, they're where I was 10 years ago, where you're staying up all night watching YouTube videos and that I just don't have the energy for anymore. But they're doing it, so you can kind of steal a bit of that off them. So it is good. I love that Thursday night session. We do a lot of rounds of sparring, nice technical sparring. As you said, I've got some really good young lads in there that have a lot of speed, a lot of hunger, and again, a lot of new tricks that I don't have my finger on the pulse on anymore, but you get it then off them, you know.
I want to ask you about Dylan Dennis, because obviously, and I wouldn't normally ask about that, but you're obviously good friends with Dylan. Yes, sorry.
We look like there,
yeah. Obviously, like he's involved in, signed to Bellator, but involved in a big boxing match up and coming. What are your thoughts on that? And obviously, you've tweeted a few times about him recently.
And my thoughts in terms of whatnot, a lot has gone on with that.
Everything.
Yeah. But I think he's doing a good. You can say what you want, but he has people interested in it. So I think he doesn't get enough. I always say especially when other fighters kind of moan about him, that he's whatever, he gets opportunities perhaps that he's not that good, or whatever they're saying about him. I said, instead of moaning about him, you could probably learn from him. Like I actually said, I tweeted there recently, I retweeted one of his tweets that he said and what he was saying. And I said, you can say what you want, but he's the best. He's literally the best guy in the world, I think, at promoting his fights. And loads of people messaged back and said, oh, what fights? He never fights. I said, exactly. Like, look, he hasn't fought in 5 years and you're still interested in him. So he's clearly doing something correct. So that's that. In terms of the actual fight, then I think it's a hard fight. I don't think Logan's very good, but he's big, he's strong, and he's fit. And these are things that can beat a better fighter very easily if the other guy hasn't trained. So it'll just come down to if Dylan has trained or not. The last time I sparred him was a couple of years ago in New York. We did a few rounds of boxing because he was actually preparing for, I don't know, was it Logan or KSI or one of these other fights he was talking about doing. And his technical ability was good. So it just matters now if he's actually trained. If he has trained, I think he can do well. If he hasn't trained, I think the physical prowess of Logan will probably be too much for him. But he told me he is trained, and I believe him. So hopefully that's the case.
You mentioned you had a lot of injuries over the last few years and things like that, and obviously coming in and picking up a loss where maybe you thought you should have won, and if you had been fit, you would have won. Was there any point where these injuries got on top of you, and the mental side of kind of like losing multiple fights in a row got you where you kind of let your mind go to the place of maybe I don't want to do this anymore, or were you always, I want to go back and put things right? Yeah,
like after any loss, the thought process immediately is, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore because it's so stressful, and you have a bad feeling, and you don't want to go through it again because it's right now it's bad. But then you recover from that very quickly. But with the injuries after the Ben fight, that was the lowest part of it, I think, because I can't even describe how bad this shoulder was. It was I couldn't like get my hand over my head. Seriously, like it was like so bad, and it felt like it was never going to heal. And I thought it wasn't going to heal. I kind of thought I was going to be done just through injury. And then after the knee thing was annoying against Logan, but that was, I knew in my mind, I've torn my ACL before my other knee, and I know this won't take long. This will be 2 months and it'll be gone. It'll be in the rearview mirror. So once the shoulder kind of got like I had a big change around in May to if I was to be more succinct about it and just answer your question. Once I got to May and I actually started feeling better in my shoulder, that I could train, I could spar, I could grapple, and I could actually do enjoying things that I enjoy while training, not just pushing prowlers and doing all this kind of disgusting stuff just to try and get yourself in some bit of shape because you can't do anything else. Then I kind of got the love back for it again. I enjoyed training. But yeah, I was pretty low after the Ben one, and especially that one because you get this big opportunity to fight Ben, and now you can prove I'm at this level, and I didn't prove it. I did the opposite actually. I got my ass kicked for 5 rounds, but I know that I'm better than that, and that's what really hurt. Is that people don't know that. They kind of just see, he got his ass whooped. He's just not at Ben's level, and that's it. But I know if I was fit, if I was able to train, who knows, maybe I wouldn't be able to beat him. I don't know. He's very good, but it definitely would be much more competitive than what it was.
Peter, your last fight was my first time experiencing your walkout, in person, and it's probably the best atmosphere I've been a part of in MMA for sure. Does that fire you up to the point that you're so hell bent on getting that win right now? To hear that crowd also get a follow up to that.
Yeah, because it's always such a great moment, this walkout, but then the last few, it doesn't feel nice then when you fall short. And I almost feel embarrassed then afterwards because you've had such a big ovation and then you don't deliver. So it's almost like you nearly feel like a fraud almost kind of afterwards. So, but again, I have my reasons for that, as I've just explained. I feel like whatever, there was reasons there. So I'm looking forward to now just going to enjoying the atmosphere, fighting to the ability and I know I can fight at, and just reminding people that I'm still very, very good and I have ability, but it just, for whatever reason, injuries and different things, I fell short the last few times.
You're able to channel it positively then.
Yeah, I never feel like it. I feel like it's a good thing. I don't feel like it. People have asked me this many times, is it overwhelming or anything? I don't think it is. It is overwhelming, but you're always a bit overwhelmed in a fight. No matter if people are cheering for you or booing for you, if it's silent, even when you fight in these kind of Apex style shows where it's in a no crowd, that's overwhelming as well. The silence can be kind of deafening too. So there's always pressure. So no, I love the walkout. It's always something I look forward to and enjoy.
At least that doesn't change win or lose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a positive.
Sean took my question about Dana, so I better ask about your own fight. Obviously, a little bit lower on the card than you're maybe used to. Does that kind of take a little bit of the pressure off?
No, to be honest, still pressure. It's not. It's kind of no. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I noticed that it was different. It's oh well, I'm not co-main event or main event or whatever it is. You're in the prelims now. It's different. And it does feel like it's kind of, what have you done for me lately? You're kind of, see you now, you're back down here again. But it's whatever, it doesn't bother me. There's still going to be pressure. I'm still going to, obviously all the same things have to be done. I still have to win. It doesn't, the crowd will still be there. The arena will still be full. It doesn't change that much really.
You were telling me last week that there was a point in the dressing room where, you said to Arda, maybe this might be it, or maybe I might do one more, whatever. Now that you're reinvigorated, or do you still have eyes on, Patricky 3 and maybe even moving back up the ranks and going for the world title again?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? I do definitely feel reinvigorated. I feel John will tell you, if you bump into him in the hotel during the week and ask me what I'm like in training, I'm back to normal again. I mean, doing what I do, whereas I wasn't. If he was honest, he probably wouldn't. He'd probably protect me and not say that, but I was not. I was a shell of myself the last couple of years in training, to the point where oh man, am I too old for this? All these kids are kind of starting to catch up to me and whatever. But then once I got myself right, I was like, no, it's not that. It just wasn't there. So I am reinvigorated and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to this.
The injuries, obviously COVID shutting everything down and everything. Even before all of these last few fights, you had an injury in, I think it was 2019 when you were going to fight Terry Brazier. It's been a up and down kind of a 4 years. Once you get back now on Saturday night, is the aim of the game with Bellator or wherever, are you going to be saying activity is most important for me?
Not activity, but I would like to be active. I'd like to fight 2-3 times a year, but I'm at a stage now where that's enough for me, to be honest. 2 or 3 fights. I don't really want to be doing 4 and 5 fights like I was earlier in my career. So in terms of that, that the kind of schedule I have now of 2 fights, maybe 3 is fine for me. That's what I'm kind of been used to the last while. And not to get too ahead of myself. And then that's where you put yourself in trouble now. You try and push it too hard and you get all these injuries again. So I'm going to be a bit more sensible with my body now as well. And try and just train hard, but give myself a little bit of a break when I need it, and don't be kind of pedal to the metal all the time, which is what I used to be. Just for whatever reason, you just psychologically, you just do that. I don't even think it's beneficial. You just have to do it. You just have to train every day and train twice a day if you can. And it's just how we are.
Peter, just want to ask you about your opponent on Saturday night. Obviously, watching him, he's a good striker from the outside, a good wrestler as well. All of his losses obviously have been by a knockout. When you look at him, like, is he the type of guy that you like to fight against? That if you push the pressure on him, the finish is there for you?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm better than him everywhere. I think a big thing is experience wise. This is his first time having a kind of a really top level opponent, whereas it's not my first time, obviously. So I think that's going to be hard for him. But yeah, I do think I can keep the pressure on him. He doesn't like being pressured. He kind of panics a little bit, I think, when he's pressured. He's good when he's kind of doing the attacking. But I think I can put the pressure on him, and I think I can definitely KO him. I'm expecting to KO him.
And just on the song as well, last thing for me, there was a bit of drama over it between your last one and this one. Obviously, Rhys McKee walked out to it, and you had a bit of a snipe at him, and he kind of came back at you. Well, what's your, I suppose, thoughts on that now, a few weeks out from it all happening?
I regret that. To be honest, all I said was lol. And I don't even, to be honest, what I even meant by that was like, oh, that's kind of my song. You're stealing on me. You thought we were friends. That's literally kind of my thought process. I wasn't trying to have a snipe at him, really. But then because he had a snipe at me, I had to have a snipe at him then, kind of thing. So to be honest, Rhys, you're welcome to use it. You did a good job with it. You're a great fighter. Rhys knows me, and I told him that. I messaged him actually on the same thread. I said, I've always been a big supporter of you, and he knows that. And I am a big supporter of him. So yeah, I regret that, but whatever. You know what I mean? I don't care. Me and Rhys, I'm sure when we see each other, he'll have the same opinion, and we're not going to fall out over it.
Thank you.
Done. Okay, thanks, guys.
I'm going to get drama on there.
Ah, no. I'm not proud. I don't.
Guys, how's it going? Oh, nah, I know it is. Danny, can I get a little bit of water? Glass of water. Just a little bit is good. It's perfect. Thanks.
Hi, Aaron. You've been in Ireland now for a couple of days. How are you settling in here?
It's been good. I've enjoyed it. Everybody's been nice to me, and haven't been, at night I get to walk around a little bit, but for the most part, it's been just kind of sleeping, training, getting the weight down, and everything's good. Everybody's nice to me, though.
Obviously, Pedro he's not Irish, but he's an Irish trained fighter and somewhat of a hometown favorite here, obviously training out of Ireland. What's the approach been, I suppose? I know you've a few teammates and people obviously who've fought here before. I know the big reception that he's going to get. Is that a part of your preparation, I suppose, preparing for maybe being the underdog in terms of the crowd reception?
Yeah, I think I haven't ever done this in my career as far as in MMA. Of course, in wrestling, I've been all over the world and I've wrestled, but I think as a MMA fighter, it's good for my development because I'm sure in the future I'm going to be in people's backyards and fighting, and they always say that the Irish are some of the best fans in the world, and I want the opportunity to put on a show in front of them. So it's going to be good. I'm excited though, but it doesn't play any. I mean, I wrestled all over the world all my life, and the fans can't fight for him. His coaches can't fight for him, so it doesn't make a difference. Just him and I locked in there.
So you mentioned our development there, and you're almost a case study for development in mixed martial arts. Maybe being thrown to the wolves a little bit early, but then coming on and becoming one of the top fighters in the world over your last few fights. If you're like, let's say someone like a Bo Nickel now coming through, or other younger fighters coming through that are top prospects, like you are and obviously still are, what would your advice be to them? Like, would it be to take it slow? Would it be to go straight at it and from the very start and aim for the top at the very start? Or what would your advice be?
Yeah, my advice would be is to develop, and I mean, there's no rush to. If everybody looks at John Jones and is always like, I want to be the youngest, I want to do this. I mean, but that's an exception. That's one guy, and you have to just take it. Your journey's different. I kind of made that mistake early on, was saying I want to be a champion early on, but this game is evolving so much, and everybody's good. there's no rush. You'll be champion in due time when it's the right time for you. Like I said, just take your time, the right fights, and because it's a pain in the ass to get your confidence back. I mean, for me, I had to really dig deep, surround myself with good people, and come back, because my confidence was shot for a long time, and it's coming back for sure.
Obviously, you did another bit of a setback then, obviously, was a shoulder injury, so maybe something a little bit different. And then you had the performance last time. You said afterwards that maybe you weren't as happy with that performance as the ones in the past. Are you at kind of a stage now again where you have to bounce back again from maybe, obviously the loss, it wasn't a real loss, it was more of an injury loss, and then maybe a performance against someone who you maybe would have been expected to beat pretty easily, that, obviously went to decision and all that. Do you feel like this is maybe the third chapter of your career?
Well, I think the last fight, the decision was, what was the decision? 29-27. I mean, it was a unanimous decision. So I beat him up pretty good. It just was hard to get out of there. But I'm not understanding your question. What is your question?
So like, obviously you had the setback with the injury, and like you had setbacks early in your career. Before the injury, you were in like a great win streak and you're improving in every fight. Do you feel like it set you back, or are you still on the same trajectory upwards?
I don't think it set me back at all. I mean, I came back. Look at my year that I had. I had surgery, and then 4 months later, I was back in the cage and fought a tough guy. I mean, he's never been stopped ever in his life. So, yeah, he was tough, but I think I did good. I fought him on a week's notice. That's very difficult to do, and I feel good. Everything's clicking. I'm where I'm supposed to be for sure.
So certain injuries like dislocations and stuff, often you hear people having a mental block sort of coming back.
Yeah.
Did you do anything specific to get over that, or?
Yeah, to be with all due respect, I don't really want to talk about the injury anymore. I mean, it's past it. My shoulder's strong. I just fought a couple of months ago, and God willing, it stays in. But if I have that in my mind, there is no mental block. I proved in my last fight that I do with my left hooks as much as I could, and landed some hard shots. So my shoulder's strong.
You just did it by winning, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of hype on your name, of course. Like you're making up for lost time a little bit, a short amount of time. How do you not let that get to you, and you keep looking at every challenge one step at a time?
I don't know. I don't even know how to really answer that question. I think where I'm at in my career is perfect. I've accepted all challenges in my fighting career, and I'm one fight away from fighting for a title. I'm not going to put emotional value on that. I just have to get through Pedro, and I think you guys are going to see a new Bellator champion very, very soon. But we all know what the task at hand is Saturday, and I got to go in there and put on a dominant performance.
Do you have your team look at places to go afterwards, since you're fighting abroad?
No, just I want to get this victory, go back and get back home, see my son, and ride my horses. That's all I'm really focused on, honestly. I just want to miss my son, and I'll see him when I get home. But I want to go home with a victory, and it's always nice when you come home with a win.
Is there still a location you have on your bucket list that you want to fight at?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I like fighting. I want to go back to Madison Square Garden. That's where I want to go. I'm 0-2 there, and I want to redeem myself and get a victory in Madison Square Garden. That's on my bucket list. Yeah.
Rick.
Hi, Aaron. Rick Wright, Albuquerque Journal. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Jackson Wink is spread kind of thin this weekend, at least geographically. You got Michelle and Dan Argueta fighting in Vegas, and you in Dublin. Who's over there with you? Who's cornering for you on Saturday?
The usual: Greg Jackson, Brandon Gibson, and Jordan Burkholder.
As you said before, you're not a stranger to jet lag and fighting internationally. Having Greg over there, who's cornered all over the world, does that help you at all?
Yeah, I mean, I love the coaches that I have in my corner. I've worked with Greg and Brandon for, I think we're going on 10 fights now. So it's the longest, it's a lot of fights we have under our belt. And I'm excited. I'm excited the team that I have here, and I'm comfortable. I'm healthy. Training camp went good. So Saturday night, I'm looking forward to the fight. And it's my birthday, so I hope it's a great birthday on Saturday.
Happy birthday. Without giving anything away, of course, what do you see in Carvalho? What does he bring?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't hear you.
Without giving strategy away or anything like that, what do you see in Carvalho? What does he bring to the fight?
No, I don't. There's really no secret to my style. My style is going to come forward and look to break him. And he looks to do the same thing, but I feel like my pressure is going to be a little too much for him. My wrestling, my striking. I don't think he's ever, faced Pitbull, who's a very strong puncher, but I think my punching is very dynamic. It comes from weird angles, and my punching to wrestling is the best in the world, I believe. So I think he's gonna have a rude awakening. But make no mistake, he's gonna have a strong arsenal that I'm sure he's gonna look to use. But we're ready for anything.
All right, thanks, Aaron.
Thanks,
Patrick.
Hey, Aaron. So it's your first time fighting in Europe in the MMA sense, but it's not your first time competing overseas. You competed all over Belarus, Russia, Ukraine, Spain, and France. Were there any old tricks you remembered or used to adjust to the time difference for Dublin?
For me, what works is when I got here at 10 a.m. On Tuesday, and I basically just stay up probably till 12, 1 in the morning, and then go to sleep. And then I kind of just do it that way. I don't take naps or anything like that. That usually seems to work for me. Stay up as long as I can and get adjusted to the time. But I've wrestled all over the world, and I've flown in 2 days before and wrestled in a different country in the World Championships, and always done very, very well. So I don't really pay too much attention about jet lag and stuff like that. A fight is a fight, and whether I feel good or not, I got to go in there and win. That's not an option. So if I don't feel good on Saturday, then you know what? I don't care. I got to go in there and fight and make myself feel good. So I don't use that jet lag or anything like that as an excuse. It is what it is. Feel good on Saturday and fight.
And Burnell said a couple hours ago that he would be interested in an interim title with Pitbull being out. Would you be interested in such an idea?
Who said that he would be interested in a interim title?
Burnell.
I mean, of course, I want to fight the champion. I want to fight Patricio. That's who's the champion. And if that's not available, I believe that there should be an interim title, because we don't want to hold this division up. There's too much talent here. And if I need to fight for the interim title, and then Patricio gets healthy, and then we fight for the title, I think that's ultimately what I would love. I'd love to share the cage with Pitbull, especially a legend like him. He's done great things in Bellator, and if there's one guy to beat in this organization, that's him. And I'm looking, and I want to do it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you. Oh.
Johnny Eblen's here. Johnny Pressure Eblen.
Yep. Pressure makes diamonds. Yeah.
Johnny, welcome to Ireland. Obviously, you were here a few months ago watching the last set of fights. Do you feel like that was a good preparation for fighting here yourself on Saturday night?
Yeah, sure. I really like 3 Arena, everything. The fuck, bro? All right. Let me restart that. Yeah, Dublin's a great city. Really enjoyed my time the last time I was here. Got to watch my boy Amisov defend his title. And, you know, it was a great performance. Really loved the crowd, the energy, everything about 3 Arena and the Irish people, man. I just really dig it. And I'm, you know, it's an honor to fight in that arena in front of that crowd.
I saw you were traveling around Ireland a bit this week. You went down to Tipperary. Was that good to kind of travel around and see a bit more of the country?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen, and when I have a chance and I can travel a bit and see some things that I haven't seen before, I try to take the chance to do it.
Obviously, a lot of people spoke after your last few fights about you possibly being the best middleweight in the world. Now that Adesanya has obviously lost 2 of his last 3 fights, if I was to ask you straight up, I asked you at the time, you said you thought you are. Now you must think you are by far and away the best middleweight in the world.
I believe I'm one of the best middleweights in the world, if not the best. Obviously, I can't take anything away from my boy Sean. I'm like very, very happy for him. I was like messing with my team saying like, this is the champion we deserve. Like I like Sean and I like how he conducts himself, even though he's a bit crazy. He's himself and very authentic. And, you know, there's a lot to be said about authentic people nowadays. I feel like a lot of people put up an act and it's not really them. So, yeah, man, just shout out to that guy. I train with him a lot. He made me better. Hopefully I made him better. I think I did. Yeah, man, happy for him.
Is that sparring heavy style that he seems to have in preparation something you like to do too, or is it something you maybe learned from him to do or not to do possibly?
I love sparring, man. I spar a lot. I spar probably the most in our gym. Even when I'm out of camp, I'm getting like 9 rounds. That's 9 to 10 rounds. Obviously in camp, I'm kind of shortening it up, trying to stay healthy, and I do 5 rounds, but usually with 2 fresh partners, and I really push myself. So, yeah, man, I love to fight. I like being in the fire. I like competing. I like getting better at MMA, and the only way to get better at MMA is sparring.
Your opponent, Fabian, obviously you come from a gym that's known for having champions, and obviously you yourself being one with Fabian as well. Obviously with his brother now has that championship metal, I suppose, in training with him. Do you think that is something for him that is really helpful for his game as it's been helpful for yours? And have you seen kind of his progression maybe since Leon has even become champion?
Are you asking like you like think he's progressing better because his brother has gotten the championship? Yeah, sure. I mean, his brother's a great fighter. I mean, he's a great fighter, but I just think I'm better.
What do you see in Fabian that maybe could cause you a few issues?
He's fast, athletic, good left hand, southpaw, has a good few tricks, tries to set you up with stuff, but he ain't gonna get me, man. I'm too slick, too good. I put pressure on people, I break them. I'm gonna rearrange his face with my fist, man. That's what I'm gonna do Saturday night.
I see, like we see a lot of your fights, and you know, a lot of wrestle heavy fights, but your hands have been really good over the last few fights as well. And maybe people don't, you know, recognize or admit that about your style. Do you feel like against Fabian that if it does turn into like a stand-up matchup that you can, you know, you can do well there as well?
Yeah, I'm not worried if it's a stand-up matchup. During this camp, I got to train with Artem Levan, and he's a 6-time world champion kickboxer from Russia, and he's a killer. He actually beat Alex Pereira, and that's one of my main training partners for this camp. And I stand and bang with him, man. I stand and bang with Sean Strickland. He's the best, one of the best in the world, just like me. Right now, the UFC champion. Just if you see the people I train with and how I can hang with them and even beat them at times, like you would, like I don't doubt myself if there's a stand-up fight.
Hi, Johnny. We spoke last time at the Eiffel Tower in France. It's for the French people. You told me last time how Pereira and Adesanya can be easy matchup for you. We are a couple months later, and one of them is not even in the middleweight category and division, and the other one loses belt. what's happened this last month confirm what you told me a few months ago? Can we say that you're the most consistent middleweight in the world today?
Sorry, I couldn't catch the end of that question.
So are you the most consistent middleweight today, especially with what happened in the middleweight division?
I would say, yeah, as of now, I'm the most consistent champion. Yeah, for now. I mean, I only have one title defense, so we got to see where we go from here. You know, I just recently got the belt, so let's just let history play out, and then we'll see where it goes. You know.
Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
Hi, Johnny. So, what you're fighting away from home now? Does that add any magnitude to the occasion, basically, for you?
No real magnitude, just different. It's not what I'm used to, but that's what I like. I like to put myself in different situations because things aren't always going to be the same. So it's just a different challenge, and I'm willing to face it and take it head on.
Well, because you're undefeated and on this winning streak as well, I was going to ask you, like, what excites you? Like, how do you stay excited and how do you set new milestones for yourself?
I'm just not done, man. I got a lot of things I want to accomplish, and this is just one step in the right direction. I have a lot of things I want to get better at, especially when it comes to my performances in the cage. And also there's more money to be made. There's more wins to have. And there's a lot of competition out there that I want to beat. So yeah, I'm far from over.
And you're training at a super gym ATT, and now the gap is being closed between super gyms, like a lot of these big gyms and the other ones. What is something that ATT has that other super gyms don't have?
Man, ATT is just very consistent. It's just a mecca. Like when you go to the gym, it's impressive. Like the mat space, the cage, they have 2 cages. We got a whole striking area, a weightlifting area. It's just, Dan Lambert has put together a really, really great gym, and they're consistent because you have consistent coaches. You have a lot of consistent fighters in there. Some are there year round. Some come in when they have fights, but it's the consistency at the end of the day. Like for instance, Killcliff used to be Sanford, which used to be Black Zillions. They're moving over a lot. A lot of these other gyms, they don't have like the mecca like ATT does. And maybe their gyms aren't as impressive, but not to take anything away from those gyms. I'm just saying ATT is like, I think it's the best gym in the world, man.
And one of those people with you is Dustin Poirier right now. What's he adding to this camp for you? And what are you adding to his game?
Man, we just like to get in there and beat each other up a little bit, man. We like to spar. He's a good southpaw look for me, and I like to pick up some of his tricks. There's some things in fights that I execute now that he does. Honestly, I look up to the guy. He's a great person, a great father, just all around a great human being. And I'm happy that I'm like friends with him and I get to train with him and learn from him. Cause his record and the people he's beat is unmatched. You know, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. But yeah, happy to be teammates with him.
Did you corner Kayla Rocco as well?
Yeah.
We sponsored her.
K-Rock.
So I was gonna let's give her a shout out. What do you think of her?
Yeah, K-Rock's awesome, man. She's always in the gym, always working. She's kind of similar to me. I'm always in the gym working. You always got to tell that girl to get out of the gym and heal up and, you know, not to push herself too much. But yeah, I think she has a bright future ahead of her. She's game. Yeah. She'll fight anybody. Almost gets her in trouble sometimes, but she'll fight people outside of her weight class. But yeah, shout out to K-Rock.
Awesome. Hey, good luck.
Thanks.
One online here, Patrick.
Hey, Johnny. I was wondering, when you faced off with Fabian, it was very heated. Is there any animosity between you two going into this matchup now?
Yeah, I just don't like his face. I don't know, something about it. I just want to rearrange it with my fists and beat the shit out of him. Yeah, that's about it. He's just on my hit list now because he's the next guy in line. I just don't like the way he carries himself. I don't know. It's weird energy. I'm just going to beat it out of him.
And adjusting to the time difference, your first time fighting in Europe, but you did make a few trips to Europe, you know, just like where the Fabian face-off was. How thankful are you for having made those trips, and any tricks you learned on those trips that you've used this week?
Yeah, you just got to get out there early, get used to the time change, kind of push through the first day. If you don't you don't sleep very good on the plane if it's overnight. So I just push through the first day and then adapt from there. And basically I'm on the time schedule out here now, and I feel good.
Thank you.
Santiago.
Hi, Johnny. Thank you for the time. Sabah, Homasi, and Roman Feraldo are also on this card, and this
and
is of
JJ
course
Wilson. JJ Wilson too.
Exactly. Yeah, I forgot about him. And
forget about
getting
JJ
back
Wilson,
to
bro.
no, but getting back to Sabah, he's a little bit newer in the gym, by the way. That's why I forgot about it. But getting back to Sabah and Roman, this is for both of them their bounce back fight. They had a tough last outing. Does it feel good for them to have you, the undefeated champ, with them this time?
Man, it's great to have teammates, especially those two. Great energy, great training partners. They're good friends of mine, man. So we're just out here on a business trip and having fun and enjoying every moment of it.
And then, Johnny, in the beginning of your Bellator career, it was a little bit tough getting ranked opponents, even though you were ranked. But then after the Salter fight, boom, it quickly, it went like a rocket ship. How was that time for you to see that, in the beginning you had to work your way up, but then after a while it went all really fast and Bellator really went behind you,
Yeah, man, it's just kind of how my life has played out. I've always had to work hard for things I deserve, and I'm going to continue to work hard because I feel like there's a lot more for me to accomplish. So, I'm still taking flight. I'm still going up. My stock's still rising.
Cannot wait to see you perform again. Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Johnny.
Peace. I'm going to go work out. Get this weight off.